Hey, what up? This is the SIDIZ T50. Man, I didn't realize how far back I'd have to stand to capture the whole thing in frame. There she is. I bought this chair a few months ago, and I really wanted to give it a try, break it in before I did a review, so here I am. The thing rolls like a charm on flat surfaces. It's just fine on carpet too. One of the more common complaints I heard about this chair before buying it was that people said it rolled too easily. And I could see how that might be the case on like a hardwood floor, but on one of these plastic carpet covers, you kind of sink in a little bit, so it does just fine holding its position. Overall, I just want to say I'm really happy with the chair so far. There's just a few things that I thought I would comment on, but overall, I'll just come out and say like I totally recommend this. I picked it up for under $420, I'll say that, on Amazon. And I would totally recommend this as like a budget in between just a cheap chair that I had at Costco for like 40 bucks and a $1,500 to $2,000 Herman Miller. So one of the big things for me was I wanted a headset or headrest. I wanted to be able to lean back in the chair and more relax when I'm looking at my computer. So the headset, I keep saying headset, the headrest was definitely an option I wanted. One thing I'll say is I'm about 6 foot tall, and this sort of cushions or nuzzles the back of my neck just fine. I will say, if anything, I maybe wish it was a little bit taller, unless there's secretly a way to raise it, which I haven't figured out yet. I'll just go ahead and say like it works for me, but I kind of wish I could raise it a little bit. But that's that. I'd still say overall positive. The back is kind of this meshy, pressy stuff, so it gives really good support. And then for lumbar, you have this lumbar thing here, and you totally have the option to, there's a thing here, so you can crank it and change how much pressure it puts up against your back. So I'm a big fan of that. Although I will say I usually keep it almost completely backed off because it is really firm. So unless you really, really want it, it's just gonna be kind of uncomfortable driving into your back. So on the minimum setting or close to that, it's pretty good just for comfortable support. Let's see, the cushion, nothing too fancy, just feels really good, well made, well put together. People say it's a little bit on the firmer side, which I guess I could agree with. You don't like sink into it like a cloud, but I think I kind of like that. I don't want my butt like sagging into it. I just want a nice comfy seat. And it's about, 3 inches thick, 4 inches thick, and you can see how, I mean, it's nice, I'm comfortable sitting in this thing. Armrests wise, you've got a lot of options. So you can see that little switch there. They're adjustable. Right now I have them at the lowest setting, the lowest height. So if I push that, let's see, bam, pops up. I guess it doesn't seem like much, but it definitely gets the job done for me. So when I'm working, I have 2 different desks. I have one desk where I keep my personal computer and one for my work computer, at my house. So when I'm at the shorter desk, I like to have armrests down so they're more out of the way, because it can get kind of uncomfortable when your elbows are forced to be up high and then it makes you hunch your shoulders up. So normally I like these down and out of the way. They do come, I had to assemble the chair myself after I bought it. If you wanted, you could just not attach the armrests altogether. That's totally fine if you just want them completely gone, because as it is, this is as stowed as they get. They're not gonna like turn out of the way or anything, with the exception of the top. These do, they can rotate. It's not much, it's like 10 or 15 degrees either direction, and I think they come in too. But anyway, I said I like these down and out of the way normally, but then when I sit at this desk right here, which is a little bit higher, so that I can comfortably use my mouse and keyboard, I'll just kind of bring these up. and it's working perfectly for me. So keep that in mind. If you want them totally out of the way, you can just not attach them, or they are detachable. Once you attach them, you can also remove them. I know some things like, oh, once you stick it in, it's stuck there forever, but these are completely removable. So when it comes to the undercarriage, there's actually a lot going on down here. The first thing is this guy, this long paddle coming down. That's the height adjustment. So right now the chair is actually at maximum height. And if you look at right there, this metal bar, that's showing you how much it's protruding upwards. It's at max height. So it could drop down about 6 inches lower, and then that metal would be completely invisible, and you'd basically be flush touching the white base. And you can see down there where that rod would be housed. I look at it max height. I think that's just because I happen to have taller desks. I want to be up a little bit higher. I'm 6 foot, I guess, compared to if you're 5.5 feet or 5 feet tall. It might be uncomfortable to be up this high, so you have the option to drop it. The next thing is this tensioner. So this thing rotates around, and what that's for is the tension of the back. So what I didn't mention yet is that the back rest that you lean back on up here, you can either use it locked in place, or you can flip this other paddle that will unlock it, and it will allow you to lean back so you can really relax in the chair. The tension at which the chair allows you to lean, or the tension, the resistance with which the chair will provide, depends on how you crank this torsioner. So you can find a sweet spot where essentially the body weight that you put on the backrest when you lean back is equal to this tension, and it will hold you in place at a certain angle. So if you want to lean back like 45 degrees, there's a certain tension that when you set it to, it will actually just completely hold you there, and it won't be so much that it like shoots you back up, you know, so you don't have to fight the chair. So you can find different tensions for different amounts that you want to lean back, and it'll be really comfortable. And so if you loosen it all the way, if you lean back on the rest at all, you'll just sort of lean all the way back. You won't fall over backwards in the chair, but it'll let you lean as far back as it goes. And if you tension it all the way or just lock the paddle, then you can't lean back at all. One thing I will comment on though is even when it's fully upright and locked so that you can't lean back, there's still like a few inches of play between the totally normal state, and you'll have to lean back like a little bit before it realizes it hits whatever's locking it. So you can actually kind of wobble it if you really want to. Now that might be annoying to some people. It's not annoying to me. I just kind of sit upright, trying to have good posture anyway. And if you're trying to lean back, you know, it will have a little bit of play before it stops you, so just be aware. And the last thing, okay, so there's actually 2 more things. There's so much stuff hidden down here. So this one, this little black crank, controls the angle of the seat. So if you look from the side, right now, I pretty much have it as flat as it can go. If I start messing around with this crank, I can change the angle. If you imagine your knee is at the front and your arse is at the back, if I change this crank, it'll basically elevate my rump up like this, so you'll sort of slope downwards. And you can imagine if you kept doing that, you would just slide out of the chair eventually. So there's a certain limit to it, and you might find something that's more or less comfortable for you. Maybe it helps your legs get on the ground, but I kind of like it how it is, pretty much in all the way back, or the default, or the flattest position. And I mean, there's a little bit of curvature to the cushion, so again, maybe there's something else that feels flatter to you. Now the real last feature is this guy. It's really hard to see. There's like a black lever here that you can pull onto like this, and then you pull it out. What that thing does, kind of similar to the other control, but instead of raising and changing the inclination, it just takes the whole cushion and slides it outwards. So right now I have it all the way back, and if I pull that thing out, it will just take the whole cushion and slide it forward. So maybe you've got really long thighs, and you feel like you don't have enough room when your back is pushed up all the way against the back. maybe your knees stick out too far and it's uncomfortable. So if you want to bring the support of the cushion all the way out to your inner knee, you can extend it out farther. So I guess that's probably more suited for like a really big person or a really tall or long person. But you got options. Looking at the wheels, I don't think they lock or do anything. They're just good as is. Oh, and I just noticed there's notches on the armrest, so you can kind of count. Yeah, so overall, I guess I just wanted to give my impression of this chair. I really have nothing but positive things to say. I think my one complaint, if anything, is what I just said at the very beginning, where I kind of wish I had more control over the headrest. I wish I could, I mean, and I could be totally wrong. Like, I guess you can kind of angle it down like that. I should have said this earlier. You can angle it down. I normally have it back like this, but it doesn't actually go any farther back. And the more I think about it, I really don't know what the point of angling it forward is. Anybody can correct me if I'm wrong. And if I've left out any features of the chair or anything, feel free to like message me or comment or add things on. If I omit something, it's not on purpose. So anyway, like I was saying, I just kind of wish I had more control over the headrest. If anything, I wish it could lean back more and maybe raise a little bit. It would just help me be able to, when I'm leaning back, have more support, or even when I'm sitting upright. But again, overall, like really positive impression. This is my first like pseudo nice chair. Again, it was a little over $400. I picked it up on Amazon. And I just want to say, if you currently have like a cheapy chair, anything under $100, and you ever work from home, I'd recommend like upgrading to something. You don't have to get a Herman Miller, it doesn't have to be $2 grand. I think this is just as good, serves the same purpose for a fraction of the cost, but I do think there's a difference between this chair and a $40, $50 chair that you would get at Costco or Target or wherever. So seriously, I'd recommend looking into this if you're kind of on the fence. If this would be your first chair or first, splurge on buying something like this, it was the first one for me. I totally recommend it. It's worked out well. And if you have any questions, just please comment. I'll definitely respond as fast as I can. Feel free to ask me anything. I think that's pretty much all I have to say. I hope I didn't forget anything. Otherwise, maybe I'll tack something on to the end, or I'll put something in the description. So thank you everybody for watching, and have a great day.